Let's take a listen at this video, then I'll make some comments.
You and I are both supporters of Israel and
Yes.
have defended Israel since the beginning of this conflict and spoken out about the anti-Semitism that has erupted on these college campuses many times. And something's happening, though, with this whole debate that is really bothering me, and I wonder if you're feeling it too. So I mean, I genuinely believe you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody in the public eye who's been as outspoken a defender of not every move Israel's taken in the war, but of Israel's right to defend itself and of the just backward awfulness that we've been seeing on college campuses and the backlash against American Jews than yours truly. I mean, I have been at the pointy end of the spear on this, and
I completely agree with that.
And it was all heartfelt, and it remains heartfelt.
Yes.
However, my contention here is that some in the pro-Israel camp are so knee-jerk about calling you anti-Semitic or getting deeply offended if you say anything that doesn't align with their narrative, that it undermines their own cause. And I have to tell you, I find it very irritating because I do feel like some of us have earned the right to have some credibility on the subject of Israel and don't want to be called those names when we have some mild pushback on some of the overreaches, whether it's, you know, whether they're winning or losing the propaganda war right now. And my contention is they've begun to lose it. And I realize it's propaganda coming at us from Hamas, but their numbers have turned here in America. They've turned, not so much with Republicans, a little bit with Republicans, but completely with the Democrat Party and with independents. They have shifted mightily from at least double digits highs to single digit lows now with when it comes to approval. And also with respect to, you and I speculated about this at the Turning Point event, whether the possibility of Jeffrey Epstein possibly being a Mossad agent or asset or affiliated with, that's been turned around on me too, to you must be anti-Semitic. What the hell? That's such bullshit. The same people who say you can criticize Israel, that's fine, we won't call you anti-Semitic if you criticize Israel, now turn around immediately and say you're anti-Semitic for even raising that. I completely reject that. And I raise this as a pushback against my friends on that particular strain of the aisle to watch it, because you don't want to alienate people who are openly your friends by going nuts in your crackdowns on mild pushback on anything related to Israel.
Okay, so before I let Charlie Kirk talk, remember Megyn Kelly, she receives thousands, if not millions of dollars from the Zionist lobby, part of the Hasbara plan. Hasbara, if you do not know, is a Zionist effort to improve the image of the Zionist state of Israel because they have lost the PR game here, the PR campaign. So they have launched a campaign called Hasbara, where they spend $150 million at least for the propagandists to become their mouthpiece. And Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, these two are one of them. They always talk about the Zionists. Therefore, Megyn Kelly, who is not a pro-Zionist, who is not a Israel sympathizer only, but a Zionist herself, because if you take money from Zionists, you are Zionist. A Zionist monster herself coming out and saying what she's saying about the Zionists, the hardcore Zionists who are calling her anti-Semite for talking against Israel is something shocking. Also shows, guys, that the ship is sinking and the rats are jumping off that ship. Rats, you know what who am I talking about? The ship is sinking. Even she admitted that the propaganda, the Hamas propaganda that was sold to the rest of the world by Hamas, by even Israel, in order to justify what was happening in Gaza, including October 7, that propaganda is losing momentum, is losing traction. She saying something of that sort, it speaks volume in of itself how desperate and devastating this news is for the Zionist state, for the Zionist PR machine, especially those leaders who are imposing new laws, making new state regulations. Well, we have heard how Donald Trump is going to be stopping or freezing fund for any state whoever will be banning Israeli products or doing business with them. Even these leaders, they are coming out now openly supporting Israel, but they are at the same time losing this whole war miserably, especially this PR war.
Now you take it.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I would second that, Megyn. I think I have a bulletproof resume showing my defense of Israel, both on campus, on social media, to great, let's just say mockery and scorn at times, because I believe it, right? I believe in the scriptural land rights given to Israel. I believe in fulfillment of prophecy. And again, I'm not a theologian, but I'm a Christian. My life was changed in Israel. The spiritual energy is so amazing there. I want them to win. I've said that repeatedly.
Same.
And however, Megyn, you're hitting on something very potent and important. Now, let me first say, I don't want to judge an entire group, because there's been many people in the pro-Israel world that have been very sweet, very kind, very nuanced, very Charlie, you're with us. You don't have to agree all the time. However, and I will say this, the behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megyn, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm sorry. Let's just take a step back here. I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megyn, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel.
Very, very repulsive. That's the word he used, Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, if you do not know him, he is someone who will consider you to be a terrorist if you go out and protest against genocide in Gaza. That's the level of hardcore Zionist he is. Now this rat, even he himself is admitting that the ship is sinking. And he himself right now is so unhappy and upset, and to an extent angry at those hardcore Zionists who are pushing this narrative that the moment you talk against Israel, anything, and doesn't matter who you are an anti-Semite. They are having enough of it. These two rats are having enough of it, and you can see the frustration both of them have. Unbelievable.
The Israeli side was
you're not allowed
overrepresented.
to, though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the fifth time, I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megyn. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, you saw it, Megyn. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be
what is so pathetic is this. Even after all of this, they are seeing the true color of Zionist rats, those monsters. They're seeing first-hand accounts. He pulled out his own cell phone to show how hateful they had become towards him for talking against Israel or criticizing him in the slightest way possible. Even though they are seeing all of these evidences and proofs, forget about what they see in Gaza. Because it doesn't matter how many children are getting killed, they will never ever talk against Israel, IDF, those genocidal maniacs, those psychopaths. They never talk about them. Killing children is absolutely okay. He himself, this rat himself said that I had supported Israel regardless of what they were doing. He said that. Means I supported Israel even when they were killing children. Now even this rat is now saying that enough is enough. They're questioning my character, my morality, and everything that I stand for. This guy, who is not again a pro-Zionist, a Zionist himself, a Christian Zionist, is now seeing the true color of Zionism. But nevertheless, guys, nevertheless, these are so pathetic two morons here, Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk, that they are not still willing to call this, what is happening in Gaza, as genocide. Megyn Kelly, in the beginning of this video, she started actually this conversation by calling what is happening in Gaza a conflict. She said, I supported Israel throughout this conflict. This is the level of stupidness they have. This is the level of moronic they are. But who can you blame at the end of the day except they themselves, who are now looking so pathetic, so unbelievably losers, that really it is them who should be blamed. They should wake up and see the truth for itself.
Charitable and generous. I will say, the people that are attacking me are in a hyper paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megyn. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb. Right?
Yeah.
So,
and it's offensive. It's offensive to those of us who have been out there defending them in many instances against critics on our own side.
Good job. Good job that those lunatics, genocidal maniacs are criticizing you, calling you anti-Semite. Good job. Because that's what, Megyn Kelly, you deserve. I don't have any pity on you. I don't have any pity on this guy, Charlie Kirk, for being called out by the Zionists. The hardcore Zionists. I have no pity for them. I have no sympathy. They should be called out by both sides. The pro-Palestinian, the pro-humanity, and also the anti-humanity, the Zionists. They should, both of them, we should call these rats out because they are so pathetic. They have no moral compass. They are willing and they're doing it. They're supporting genocide. They're supporting, and they're calling for more killing of children in Gaza. I have absolutely no pity on them. I would rather really commend the Zionist lobby, the Zionist group, not the lobby, the Zionist group, the Zionist campaigners, for being honest that yes, we will kill children, than to have any feeling for this kind of rats who are absolutely so arrogant, so greedy, so lack of moral compass. They don't have one. That they should be ashamed of themselves. I mean it. Subscribe to my channel, guys. If you're new here, see you in the next video.